All right, we're live. Hi. So it's day before Election Day 2020. I vote with your heart for the sake of Earth. So how can we help open some Republicans' heart, loving whatever Republican we're addressing? If we can't find lovable qualities, and if you ever say some, oh, they're evil, they're totally evil, picture them, picture whoever we're scared to relate to, with whoever makes them feel open and soft and kind. Maybe it's their kid, or their best friend pet, or their grandparent, or their sweetheart, but whatever makes them feel at home. um, Picture someone, picture activism is a kind thing. It's much more energizing than watching TV. So turn this screen off, and any phone or computer screen off anytime you want to just help Earth. And even if the boss is going to fire you, or you're in some place where it will be interrupted, sang out loud, you could just sing in your beautiful mind. And when you say, well, I have to sing really, uh, the friends who used to play the loudest music, and now they're moms and dads, and they've got the kids sleeping on their chest, or the kids sleeping a few feet away, and they just learn to communicate all the love in the world, no matter how softly. So I should be quieter then. So that's why I picked. I have backup audio. Hopefully that's going to work. The sound I haven't figured out. It's going to be so terrible. That's why I was mostly talking. No, I was mostly talking because I don't stop talking. Like starting like 39 years ago, when I started painting like regularly, like 6 days a week, or but take off, but it got friends so happy because that meant I was going to be talking less. But so I should do that now. So, okay, so sorry. So we're singing to flip the Senate, and for Kamala and Joe to become president, both to become president, and just for the Earth to hear each other's heart. It's going to get tough. It's not COVID's just a wake up call of like how tough it is for Earth. Think of how many people are like frightened for their kids because the kids aren't going to have the places to play and all the same species that are alive. The way things are projected now, just something's because something's projected doesn't mean we can't turn it around, right? Like all those water wars we were talking about earlier. Maybe some miracle scientists will come out for ways to have desalination plants way a zillion times cheaper, so you can, because if the 3/4 of the surface of the Earth is ocean, because it's so heartbreaking, all these folks losing their lives because of water wars, because everybody gets scared about the other, and just picture being locked in an elevator with somebody, and you don't know where you're going to get out in 8 seconds or 3 days, hopefully a few seconds. But the point is, it's like it might be the only chance you have to share like what's in your heart. Sorry to bring up the elevator now, because now with COVID, it's like the idea of an elevator. Most folks, although I usually get in an elevator to go here, but the wonderful soul who works, um, who's doing janitorial stuff in the building, was, until I just say goodbye to him Thursday, and it was his last day, and I've been staying away. I had to go to other hallways, other bathrooms, because he had been working in this nursing home where back in by late April, like 45 folks had died. And what he said to me is, and it just blew my mind when he said that many folks had died. And so it's a beautiful soul, but I could never get him to wear a mask. And he's heading towards you wearing a mask, and he's walking the public areas, going to the bathroom, and again, he's walking with all these elderly folks, and I'm sure he there, but he said there's a new person coming in today. So like, I'm going to do every extra exercise, because I, go down. Thank God there are staircases that I don't have to like parachute out the window to get down, just to but I don't know if find ways to meet people in the eyes more now. Forget about the Republican or Democrat or Green or any party. Just meet someone with your eyes. It might be the only chance you're getting to see them. And it showed me how little I didn't look at the eyes enough. We're so visual, but we don't look at the eyes a lot. Just like a wonderful thing on, I was just listening about how dogs, like their visual, the equivalent of their visual is their smell, you know. And I've been going around with this book, um, digging on that. It was a gift of a book, and then just yesterday on NPR, Freakonomics, which I have a lot of issues with. It always raises flags. You have questions. You feel like it should be a stop time thing where you could say, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. But there's some cool stuff. There's definitely some cool stuff, and it stimulates debate, and that's the blessing. But it's true. It's like dogs; they smell the universe, isn't like whatever. And you go back to that same place an hour later, a day later, later in the day to take the second walk, and all the different people, all the different creatures that have brushed against the parts of flowers and left their scent, and you could figure out by how the order of things, like time, because you can say like, well, how much does a dog know about time if he or she is sitting waiting by the door all day? Along those lines, before I'm going to go play in a second. Sorry, it's just that if you know an animal that lives on their own, talk to other people, talk to friends and strangers to maybe so that the animal can have a but an actual other creature, because as opposed to the lone. I mean, one of the cool parts of the heartbreak of COVID is that more people are hanging out with animals and getting to be with their loved ones at home. But you still think of the loneliness of it's not just an animal, it's any being. That's why John Prine's favorite song was, who we just lost. I love John so much. Luckily, I got blessed to see him different times, but before he got his throat cancer, but he's just such a beautiful soul. Oh, because hello in there. Don't pass him by as if you didn't care. Say hello in there. Hello. Just like, because he was a postal worker before he put out his first record, and he'd meet folks, and that's them, it's just somebody waiting all day to have that connection. That's why, folks are easily scammed over robocalls, because it's somebody reaching out and talking, but I don't know, when I pick up the phone, I'm like, hi, are you human? If you're not, I'm going to try my best to love you as best as if you're my favorite being ever. But I only have maybe 8 seconds. And whether you're a robot or a human, only stick with if it feels like right to the heart. It feels like you're serving the greater good, because you could have been a robot prone to. What's the wonderful show that's about what happens after you die? The Good Place, and it's the seemingly female robot who knows everything but becomes more and more human. And that's a reason, out of respect, not be kind to robots because they could take over Earth. They probably will, and be like the instant memory, kind of like I forgot who made jokes about, like, the ginkgo tree has the most amazing memory, so it remembers anybody who ever picked a lead, which is why. And I know I keep saying the last thing is that when you're with loved ones, and you new and old loved ones, and you can't stop them from picking at flowers or trees, or just taking all the rocks or all the shells from the area, just since if they were with indigenous friends, remind them, like, there's spirit in the pebble, in the shell, in the leaf, going which bud, which thing wants to be caressed or sung to or picked to go home with you, because somebody was so downhearted that they'd be so happy you brought them a flower. But that same friend, maybe at another time in their life, they'd be, why'd you pick the flower? The greatest gift to me, you would have told me a new poem or song about them. You sing from light for everyone on earth. Oh, dude, oh my God, I'm an idiot. Wait, okay, hold on. I didn't put the backup. Okay, so what was it? Remind me how the song was going, because everything I just trust spirit. I just make up on the spot. It doesn't matter. It's like whatever the song wants to be, I guess. Wait, okay. Wait, so was it something like? Hold on, sorry. Something like, we sing from the light of love from every being on every earth. We sing from the shine that births us out. Here are you waving so far, we are singing from anywhere that we've ever seen. And anyone is birthing us all at once. Cause they brought love and they did not mind sharing it with every being that is out. It's like when you're reading history, and it's not something that just happened. Since you're reading about it, it's happened, you can send love to the story you're hearing. So that story now has more love in it. It becomes a possibility. When someone's like, the story happened, it happened hundreds of years ago. They went and they ate soup and they died. No, that's the worst, shortest story ever. Okay. But it was the best soup ever. Sorry, okay. And they're back to the dogs, because our sense of smell is way deeper than our sense of taste. So it's what gets you home with your kind brain, what sings you through any worry, through any rain, through any sleep, through any pebble, hail, or corn. What's hidden? What shines through? What lights love? What sings through you? Here you are from the love of every being you've ever thought of. Here you are from the soul of life of everyone that you have ever thought of. And everyone else that we ever thought about, well, they're singing from the light of love that everybody gives birth to. Everybody gives birth to every other. Why don't you be a kind parent parental. I just mean like everyone ever is our kids and parents and teachers and bosses and best friends. I have no idea. Wait, all the heart that you have sung is lighting love from everyone. All the heart that you have shown is singing in everywhere. Now it's growing up to sing a love like that. Walked right by, or it flew by, but it had no wings and it had no feet this time, so it just went sailing by. We got 30-mile-an-hour winds today, singing all these branches that I've been trying to kiss for the last couple of days. They finally get to kiss because of these big winds. Maybe they called, but please, these winds don't knock anybody down, don't kill anybody today. Come on, you winds, be kind, come on. You winds, think of everyone that could use a really soft, gentle touch, right? Could use a light of love, send it to them, doesn't cost you anything. Mitch McConnell freaks me out, but the more love we send to him, he could see the joy of retiring, the joy of not having to control the Senate. He doesn't have to be such a battler, he can be sitting in the breath of everyone that's ever liked to love him. Nobody means to be as cruel as Mitch McConnell. Even Mitch McConnell doesn't mean to be as cruel as Mitch McConnell. You get so defensive, you worry what people really want from you. You miss out on the poem, from the prayer, from the song, from the heart of the every other. Same with Lindsey Graham, he's so defensive, he's missing out on all the joy. To vote in a manner that stands for the earth. Come on, vote in a manner that stands for the earth. Vote in a manner that stands for the earth right now. Find ways to vote to love the earth. Find ways to vote to stand up for everyone on earth right now. And even if we flip the Senate, even if Kamala and Joe get elected, we still got our work cut out for us every day. But it feels more enlivening, more joyful. Some of my favorite times ever are standing up for the earth with some wonderful new strangers that I met because we were born hundreds of miles away. We started the day or the week earlier, hundreds of miles from each other, but we got together because of like the earth needed some standing up for. It was like going to WTO. Protesting World Trade Organization or IMF, International Monetary Fund, or World Bank, find a book. What's his first name? Perkins. The good interview with him on Amy Goodman years ago. She had him on because he witnessed, because it was heartbreaking because he was trying to do good work. Confessions of an Economic Hitman. That's what it is. So it led him to go back to those places in like South America, Central America, to work with indigenous folks. He would bring like doctors and healers and people just caring for the planet because he felt so guilty having, you go in and you say, you got to restructure your economy. And it has to be like this great loan shark with your knee on the neck of the country. And he did that he was pressuring Panama to accept it. And then mysteriously, like Panama, didn't want to play ball. He went down in a plane crash, as opposed to you have like Manuel Noriega, who we trained like so many other, like I was saying earlier about School of the Americas. Look at Fort Benning, Georgia School of the Americas. And so what's John Perkins, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, and you don't know what leads you to what, Amy Goodman, she's a wonderful daughter of a rabbi, and it was such a blessing meeting her with they came out to the Cummington Fair, her and her brother was like up in Vermont. They give wonderful hugs, and they're really beautiful souls. And their grandma was alive still then. She had just passed on because Amy had written this book, and in the book she talked about her grandma being 100. And but Amy like risked her life. It was because there was a media blackout on East Timor for so many years, and with our weapons in December 75, because Gerald Ford was so overly deferential, like we all were. Everybody kept the covers of Time and Newsweek always were, the most featured person was always Henry Kissinger. So Kissinger made the deal, so that we allowed the killing of a third of the people, like 200,000 East Timorese. This is in Indonesia. And so there was a media blackout from that part in 75 to about, was it 91? And it was it was like this massacre. Or was it the Santa Cruz? Somebody help me. The Santa Cruz Cemetery. They had to bury the film, and like a lot of news gets to Europe before it filters to the U.S. because we're too scared of so much news, like Greg Palast getting the news to us about the Florida election before we, through the BBC. So Seymour Hersh from the New Yorker. So Seymour Hersh, I think. No, not Seymour Hersh. Who's the one? Who else wrote for the New Yorker? Alan Nairn, maybe, who put himself over. I think he took the fractured skull to keep Amy Goodman from getting hurt. And just think of, there it was one of the things I posted earlier to the 1 hour and 8 and 108 number there, the 1 hour and 8 thing I did earlier. Sorry, and again I was talking so long on that, but what was it? I'll be quiet. Sorry. Oh, Reporters Without Borders. That's what I was going to say. Because like when we're sitting loved, because it's not just enough getting rid of Trump. It's like getting Trump and every other dictator. Yes, he's a dictator. So every other dictator to open their hearts. Like Assad was saying yesterday. Assad, in Syria, or Erdogan in Turkey, or Duterte in the Philippines. And Erdogan. That's what made me think, because this may be the highest amount of journalists in jail right now in Turkey. They did take on so many Syrian refugees, but Erdogan is so heartbreaking. And then there's the Turkey connection earlier, because I was saying earlier about Ketil Hayek, about Buddhist. But look up Ketil Hayek. It's like, again, 8,500 years ago in Turkey. So okay, so wait. I just wait. Your face, it helps when you grow love for the sake of some earth. It's waving, struggling. Could use love. They could use a song, or a prayer, or a dance from way over there. It's like your face lights up when you get around the tiniest little creatures. Although you wish everybody would get that way around an ant, right? The way you get freaked out by ants or spiders. I just, if we had all been raised by Buddhists in terms of like being kind to little tiny creatures, or Jain, the Jain tribe in India, you hear about them like sweeping in front of them so they don't walk over insects, but they'll like go to sleep with cheesecloth over their face so they don't accidentally inhale insects while they're sleeping. Sorry, I'm just going on through them. All right, so wait, we should just stand up for every earth being, stand up for every neighbor ever, stand up for every creature that is not you, but is part of you, that is from every baby, that's from every grandma, that's from every mother ever. I didn't mean to leave out males or every they of every earth. Every earthling and every other is singing from the breathing of the every other. Every love light found in everyone is always reachable when I don't mind bringing love. When I don't mind bringing love. Suddenly every creature on earth is reachable when we don't mind bringing love. We're sung from the heart light of every being that's freaking us. We're sung from the warmest parts of whoever we think is our enemies. That's the wild thing, that every enemy sings from the heart of every being ever. If we really are fair and we picture the entire lifetime of an enemy, at some points they showed yielding, heartfelt, joyous, like laughing vulnerability. Isn't that wild? You ever see somebody that's always been mean to you? They high back the first 150 times, and then you catch them being wonderful to somebody, and they feel safe with them. And instead of feeling like, oh, well, I can't believe they're nice to them and they're not nice to me, it's like, oh, they've got that kind part. They got that part, but does love to get along with folks. I mean, we see the witnessing them getting along, truly happy to see someone, not laughing out of gossip. Sorry. It's like anything that has gossipiness. I never heard the word. And then there's the penis there. Okay. So it's like, now if I had some other lifetime and I wasn't so male, would I be putting penis into this or that sentence? So it's like, what? Like it, oh my God, like the heartbreaking, Aryan Nation folks, like holding up their penises like torchlights, like what was the guy from the lower Manhattan? He had the King Missile, the song Detachable Penis. So I'm sorry. Okay. So we're sending off to every being ever. All right. I keep going on too long. All right. I'm going to stop. Do that when 20 minutes. All of us trying. Oh, wait. We're just trying to. That just went 2022. Okay. We just went. Okay. So E flat. Okay. Never far from helping out. Just think of someone who you feel so safe with. Picture them helping someone right now. Time zones away. Picture them rooting for the scariest folks to open their hearts, to sway for the sake of love on earth. Let's share love on earth with everyone who we were taught was our enemy. Let's share love on earth. Let's share love on earth with everyone that we were taught was our enemy. You're never far from helping out. Go turn into some kind of vibration for the sake of earth right now. Go and sing from the heart of anywhere and anything. Just start anywhere with bunches of love to pour out to whoever might be stuck or overwhelmed right now. Stand up to Chuck Grassley. Stand up to Mitch McConnell. Stand up to Donald Trump. Stand up to Lindsey Graham. Stand up to Carrie Severino. Stand up to Leonard Leo. Just look them up, okay? Sing from the heart of the ever being. Turns out everyone is really every color. We all were from East Africa, so why don't we wave love to everyone ever when we speak to anyone? We're seeing the entirety of every earth ever in any being we ever meet. When I meet wonderful folks and they're so nice for like a few hours, and then they suddenly start saying some racist things and they break my heart. And I try, and I'm proud that, because I used to just yell or bark or storm away, and as years went on, I would just be like, oh, I still love you. And I'm so glad we met. You're breaking my heart right now. You're killing me. And just picture your future. Stay in good health. Picture your wonderful future self looking back on this moment. Because when you grow, we get taught racism, and it's more like you're comfortable with your pastor saying, oh, yeah, slavery is, but then your kindergartners like learning conflict resolution. And they're like, well, wait a minute. Where does it say, like slavery's, where does it say slavery's cool? That's what I was saying earlier. It's like, I can't believe that no to slavery is in the Ten Commandments. I mean, the nod to slavery, I guess, is the Sabbath day, saying, oh, if you have slaves, you have to let them have one day off. But no, that's not enough. And there's present day slavery that's like heartbreaking. And depending on the metric, some folks say it's like 20 something million, some like 46, 47 million. And if you include like indentured servitudes and sexual slavery, and there's that, what's the boats, the Thai fishing boats where they're keeping slaves working on the boats from Burma and Cambodia. I don't know. I'm wrong a lot. Somebody, I don't know who I'm talking to. I'm waving love again. We're the day before election day, but go out and find some people who you think their vote would scare you. I guess I'm talking to Republicans. I'm talking to Democrats or Greens, or folks that like, your vote does matter. That's the funny thing. I know so many wonderful folks who refuse to vote, and like I said, I was saying yesterday, the off elections in like 2010 and 2014, they'd be like 38, 39% of the vote as opposed to, 50 or more. This is going to be over 50% this year. This might be up. I think the biggest one in a lifetime was 60%. And I can picture this going up even higher, above 60%. I really can picture it. I mean, Trump will do his best to uncount it, because that's it. Paul Weyrich, one of the great dominating spirits of the horror of what the conservative, movement became. He was just saying, there's a famous 1980 quote where he's talking and he's like, yeah, well, that's our job. We have to suppress the vote because we want to, and the Democrats are guilty of gerrymandering too, but not to the extent as the intensity of what in the last decade, that Republicans have been doing. And it's like, because if you have the majority people, if you keep winning popular, but the way that it's redistricted, here I am in Massachusetts, and that was named after, what was it? Was it one of the signers of the Declaration? Elbridge Berry. I'm spazzing out on how to say the name. I'm so sorry. Someone just go, Jeff, shut up if this is the right name. Eldridge Jerry. I'm totally missing. I don't know what most names, like, that's it. Like, you hear about a name and you're like, somebody's like, and the shame of that name, you hear like what the horrible murderous stuff, the person who the name of the street or the boulevard or the statue. And instead we should just, instead of fighting, we should listen, like, oh, once the person died, they found out all their other names sung from all the dust that we were, and all the mountains that we were, and all the water that we are made mostly of. And, we keep regenerating. Think about, like, the air that we're breathing in. Where were those particles, thousands or millions of years before? And it's like shared energy. And now we can meditate on it more, as opposed to the close proximity where you could get COVID-19 from somebody. So if you're having the toughest time and you're not getting off on watching, you're with loved ones and you're not getting off on watching the rerun for the fourth time, then turn off the TV. If somebody fights you on it, say, okay, we'll turn on the mute button, at least while the commercial for the game or commercial, the commercials are on. And let's talk about who we want to send love to, and who's about to go into the surgical knife today, or what war-torn areas do we want to send miracle energy to. And it becomes so addictive that when the commercials are over after 2 or 3 minutes, then you stop wanting to watch the program, because it's more spiritually enlivening. Suddenly the cold you were throwing in developing kind of gets pushed. You're having some, some onions and, and apple cider vinegar and cayenne, whatever. But onions. But do have. I mean, my mom taught me this, but so many other nutritionists. But like, have 2 quarts of water, 2 quarts or 2 liters of water a day. Right, that like the kindest thing you could do for yourself. Just so we have access to clean water. Like, a lot of times when I'm making videos, I'll feel so selfish there. Like, just at least there's no brand name or something. I've used it like 200 times, but what's the line I was just remembering from? One of my favorite black and white movies from when I was 17. It was from like late 30s. Jean Cocteau, Orpheus. Like in French, it's like Orpheus and Eurydice, and but isn't there something, I was trying to remember, is the line, he's sitting in the car and they're messing with him over the car radio. He's listening to the underworld over the car radio, and it's like, a single glass of water lights the world. Right? Oh, because I was remembering it, because he goes down to the underworld, and I think people are walking by with like, I don't think it's door frames. I think it's with huge windows. And I've been thinking about that lately, because people going through the pain, and nobody can stop you sending love through the prison walls and through the like hospital walls. So people don't have to die alone. They suddenly have a feeling of well-being. If somebody like what do you do when you meet a stranger? Like, even if it's a creature, it's a bird that is close to dying, or a fish that somebody's caught and they haven't decided whether they're going to throw it back in or not. So a lot of times I'll ask the fisher person, I'll say, is it okay if I have ceremony with the fish, no matter what you choose to do, just in case I don't know what you're doing next. And I'm trying not to tell people what to do, but you let the fish know, like, wherever you are, love is with you, and love's going to be around you no matter what. Same thing you tell any loved one or any stranger when they're getting ready to die. You know what I mean? Like, don't doubt that there will be love. There's always going to be love around. Like, what is it, Ted Williams? I can't believe his family didn't spring for the whole body. They just put his whole head in a jar. And so I guess he'll just bring that brain to like have great batting skills 100 years from now. But I would figure, he can be kind of persnickety, but I think if you've been sitting in a jar waiting to talk to people and hang out, he'd probably be even friendlier. But if you're, it's like him and DiMaggio. If you're like the best hitter, maybe you can be a little cocky. I don't know. I get sad um, that like, I wish people got as excited about, like if folks got as excited about rooting for the planet and rooting for the peace as they do at a ball game. I know I always carry on about this. All right, I'll be quiet. I love you. But seriously, if you're at a sporting event and you're bored and you want to go, you're frustrated, as long as you think you won't die from it, unless you're prepared to die at that moment. But I mean, find a way to maybe just, since you're leaving anyway, like, we're rooting for peace for everyone ever. We're rooting for good health for everyone ever. We love you, everyone ever, even though we're scared to notice so much of the time. And then you get up and you walk out. And the ushers are just about 2 feet from getting you and throwing you out of the stadium anyway. But then as you're getting let out of the stadium, you met some other people that wanted to join in and they were just about to, but then you got thrown out and they're a little timid and you both hang out outside and you meet some other people and you start circling up and jamming out. And you go to some new favorite underground or overground places, out. That's one of the beauties of COVID, is that because you can be indoors less. So you got to see each other's hearts more, and you can be like, yeah, but we can't be more than 6 feet, of closeness. We have to be even 10 feet away. But you can still see. Luckily, we don't, even without the Hawkeye Eagle Eye vision, to see anybody's heart with from 10 feet away. Hopefully, your vision's good enough. Or we're sending it now for everyone to have like really good. I mean, I do tend to have like about a third to a half a pound of carrots a day. And I thought it was a miracle, and everything's a miracle, but like that my eyesight got a little better like 2 years ago. Oh, I'm due this month. That's right. Oh my God, for vision. And they keep asking me the last bunch of months, they keep saying I have an eye appointment. So, all right. So that means, so we'll end on that note, like everybody get their eyes checked. And there's a wonderful person in this building who for years has it's the National Association for Macular Degeneration, and even put out a calendar about the heart healthy food, about the good eye foods. Like what's the, I can't believe I'm forgetting. But go take care of your eyes, maybe that's what the whole thing was. I have no idea what I was singing. We got to, and maybe a loved one who's been putting off going to an appointment, maybe get up in your hazmat suits and maybe accompany them to the eye appointment or something. Or just start studying up, and not without memorizing the eye chart. My dad did that to sneak into the Army Air Corps. He memorized the eye chart, and which is probably a really easy thing to do. I mean, unless maybe it's to make it tougher now, because they probably make it easier now, because like I said, ever since George W. Bush and Gulf War II, it made it easier to get into the armed forces. And last thing that I didn't mention earlier, and then really I know, sorry, 32 minutes. I'm so sorry. Is that if you know anybody, I was saying this, if you know anybody who's like in high school signing up to be in the military, they can change their mind without any punishment. And you could bring the whole family down to talk to the recruiter, so they can't put a shiny watch and get you back in and re-recruited. But even if the Stars and Stripes won't publish this, and they won't tell you this, the military folks won't tell you this, but some of your military friends who've done tours of duty have found out about this, which is that you could have signed up willingly, believed in killing for the country, and then have an epiphany, a seismic shift in your brain. And then you can actually get out of, without scamming. I mean, your heart is truly moved and you can't go and kill anymore. And so you're able to get out without a dishonorable discharge, in the same way that you can choose to be a conscientious objector without having sense of a belief in God. Again, it's just you're having a strong ethical heart. That's why I was mentioning RESMA, RESMAA.com. Look at Resma Menachem, he's that clinical director of psychology in Minneapolis. Like I said, he works with African American families there. He's African American, beautiful, radiant soul, and he works with the police department though of Minneapolis, where George Floyd was murdered. So that's it. You want to work with everybody on both sides so they can see each other's hearts, so people can get to live as long as and wonderfully and healthily as long as you and your family and every family would love to live. All right, I'll be quiet. I just last notes of just singing Love Light. Okay. Because I have to be to get the 2 shots, to get the 2 steroid shots in an hour. Okay. Because I think my mind's like, that's why I held off for 10 years on my back for getting steroid shots, because I thought they'd amp up my brain too much. So it's for my back. It's not for my, okay. Because prednisone even makes me, okay. So, all right, wait. Singing from the every being, singing from the every light. That's who you are born from and for the sake of every earth, to bless every other. Soul of every light sings, and everywhere you're looking, and everywhere else as well. The soul of every love light is shining now from every being. And even when we're not, and even when we're not looking, every love light shining from every being ever, from every being ever. That's where love light is always shining from every being ever. Every love light is the soul of every other. Every love light is found in the breathing of every other. Thank you, every being. Thank you, every being. Thank you, every being. We get to play this day. We get to sing this day. We get to hear the heart of each other, making room for every other. We get to see the amazingness of ever being when we don't mind bringing love right now. We get to see the true heart of ever being on earth when we don't mind bringing love light right now. Love light right now. Love light right now. Let's turn into kindness for the sake of earth. Let's bring love light and without even having to try. Just like if an area is overwhelming, you just picture whoever needs love on earth, and just find a way, just emanate love light. Picture anyone who's made you feel open-hearted, and just picture them helping you widen that circle to go bless someone, whoever's stuck on earth right now. They don't know why they're suddenly getting in a better mood, or they're getting skippy and they're feeling alive, and all because we got unafraid to send all the love in the world right now to everyone ever. Wait, oh, they will wait, love. Bye.